Yo, my peoples, what's up? Welcome back to Semper Ludimus. I am Jace from Shelf Stories. This is Liz from Beyond Solitaire. What does Semper Ludimus mean, Liz?
It means we always play, and now you're getting into the top 20 games that we're always playing. So it's getting dramatic right now.
Playing. It's getting more and more. The air is getting rarefied. The games are getting to the table more and more. We come back to these games over and over again. So this is the Dice Tower. This is the Summer Spectacular. And also this is the stretch goal that we, Liz and I, agreed to when backers hit 300 some odd thousand, which is amazing. Thank you so much for your support of the Dice Tower, both in the Kickstarter and watching the Summer Spectacular. We're very happy to be a part of it with our top 50, which is an exercise that Liz is not exactly the most proficient with or the most comfortable with, because it's like, why rank my babies? I get that. You know, I totally get that instinct.
Yeah, honestly, if there were not a stretch goal, this would never have happened.
Yeah, right.
So it's like really a stretch goal in that sense.
You should... Stretching yourself for this goal. There you go.
Yeah, I don't ever think of games this way. It's an interesting thought exercise for me, but yeah, until there's another stretch goal, it's not happening again.
Oh, I got numbers all over the place. It was like, all right. I said, what numbers? Let me line them up or anything. Whatever. I'll rank my kids. Whatever.
I'm not gonna tell that to your human children.
Right.
51 and 52.
I got a secret ranking. My daughter just gave me a gift. My son is now behind. He needs to catch up. Although he'll catch up, he's 2. We're potty training him right now. So if he did the day that he just gets up and walks to the potty and goes in the potty, ahead. And my daughter's gonna have to catch up.
Sometimes the greatest pleasure is the absence of pain.
Oh my God, please. The absence of pee on the floor. Anyway, enough of that. So we are going to get to our number 20, XX. Well, I think I'm going to keep the XX this time. Let's go ahead and hit us with our number 20, Liz.
All right, so my number 20 has actually appeared earlier on your list, so lower on your list.
All right, so this is our first official crossover, first of many. There will be more crossovers because Liz and I, our tastes very much differ. I'm on the thematic co-op storytelling end. Liz is very wargaming and everything, but towards the top, history, solo, very crunchy, that kind of that core solo experience, we're going to totally match up.
I actually have been really almost happy with how different our lists have been so far. That's Absolutely. Like a whole lot of variety of games. Like I feel like people get more bang for their buck that way. Yeah. But
not anymore. We're gonna do a lot of crossovers now.
My number 20 is Hostage Negotiator. That is a game that
20?
I love Hostage Negotiator. I play that game a lot because there's so much to appreciate about it. Like, honestly, the more you play it, like, people are like, oh, it's so lucky. What a lucky game. But strategically, there's actually a lot you can do. You can choose to play no cards at all. You can choose to, try different combinations of things. I love all the different abductors because they truly are mechanically different. Like, there's the creepy one with the twins, and there's the one with the Stockholm Syndrome, and there's the one that's like speed. And then there's the whole career thing on top of that. Just as a system, I think Hostage Negotiator is really impressive. There's nothing else out there that's quite like it. And actually, I think Hostage Negotiator, while wonderful and something that I really play, Final Girl is coming, and I think that'll come in. Be better.
That'll come in up. That'll come above. Absolutely.
So I'm really excited to see the system evolve, but I already think it's a really wonderful system, and it's one that I have been enjoying for years. I think my first video for the Dice Tower ever in fall of 2016, somewhere in there, was about Hostage Negotiator. Like, I've been playing it that long,
right? And
I still play it. Definitely top 20 slot.
Absolutely. I said as much as I did about Hostage Negotiator. I specified that it's with the career expansion. Without the career expansion, it's probably not nearly as high for me. It's kind of like in the 7.5 range for me. What career made it for me? But yeah, I totally agree. Hostage Negotiator, good one. Not my highest solo game. Not my highest solo filler card game. I got some a couple, or at least one. Maybe actually no. There are, looking at the list now. There's a couple more. Imagine that. I like little solo card games. All right, so my number 20 is standing there right there above my shoulder. I talked about Days of Ire in terms of a history thing. I talked about Burgle Brothers. Wow, look at that. Oh, my right shoulder's magic. Freedom, the Underground Railroad. So did a Dice Tower review for it, games for an informed mind. I like my mind. And it is a it's how it's not for everybody. It really shouldn't be in like the mass market. Like, it's a game that deals with some weighty subjects. Freedom is a game about you're playing an abolitionist in the antebellum South during the Civil War period, and you are freeing slaves, helping slaves along the Underground Railroad travel from the South to Canada. Canada representing in the game terms is freedom. So there's it's a game, so it's going to make some historical. I like to think of it as okay. It makes you curious about the history, so it opens the door to history rather than just kind of makes a declarative statement, which is I think the best type of game. I think it treats the subject as well as it possibly can, and I think the thing to really for me to note about this game is that it's not a game about slavery. It's in the title. This game is about freedom from slavery. That's a big difference. You can tackle these subjects as long as you're in touch with the human aspiration that's inside of what's happening, in the history. So like, people are, in this case, escape from slavery, or like, rebelling against colonization, or, rebelling against, different oppressing situations. As long as you have that element of rebellion and resistance and agency of the people who are being oppressed, then I'm cool with the at least the idea of it. And then it's about executing. And I think Freedom executes at a very, very high level. So a game it came out in 20 something. Really, I think we're approaching the 10-year anniversary, and I don't think a game has come out that's quite tackled this subject, in this way. So Freedom is amazing, and it's going to be in my collection forever.
Yeah, I'm actually still waiting on the reprint to get my own copy of this one.
Mm-hmm.
So
I've had mine for a long time.
Count yourself lucky.
I jumped in when I first entered the hobby, and I was looking. I always know I like cooperative games, and we actually are coming up on a bunch of the cooperative games that I came in on early in my journey here. So I got to the point of like, okay, I learned how to use the search function in BGG, so it's like advanced search, cooperative, all these things, and then I kind of went down the list. I bought all of them, sold most of them, but some of them stuck around, and Freedom was definitely one of those games. So it's been around for a while. All right, so that was our number 20. 19.
Whew. All right, so I'm pretty sure this is my highest up. I guess it depends on how you define games. It's a Euro.
Let's go into a ludological discussion about what is a game, Liz.
Let's not. But this is the highest up, let's say, more traditional Euro game on my list.
Okay.
And that would be Tricarion. You know what's really funny is that I love that game. Every time I play it, I have a great time. And I've actually not yet played the solo still. I finally picked up a collector's edition of it so I can play the Dog Guards Academy. But I love Tricarion. There's something about that game I just really get hooked on, all the different processes and goals that I can have in that game. I like the magic theme. And what's really funny is that I almost ended up hating Tricarion because one of my friends just bought it in a game store and was like, let's try it and punch it right now and see how it goes. God. And it was a nightmare.
You can do that for certain games with certain people, but that is not a universal practice that we, that we recommend.
And so, my first experience with Tricarion was terrible, but, it's not the game's fault. And I'm so glad that I gave it another chance because it's turned out to be one that I really think is just a great design. I really enjoy it. I like it aesthetically, I like it thematically, and I like the gameplay. So I would throw down with Tricarion any old time. I really like it.
I've never played it. Would be interesting to try. I have a Mind Clash game coming up. So Mind Clash is they only release like 1 or 2 games a year, or if that, and they're usually like kind of these big blinged out, mind bending in terms of the production and the color scheme and the theme and a very involved mechanisms. They just like, okay, let's put more and more in there. I've actually spoken with some of the people there when I used to do previews, and that's their design philosophy is like more. So no, I do have a Mind Clash game coming up. But that is not it. I do. You're going to show it to me at some point.
Okay, absolutely.
Okay. Do you own it?
Yes.
Got it. Cool. All right. So my number 19. Speaking of those cooperative games that got me into the hobby, this was the second one that I've ever played, and it was so good. There it is, right there. Space Alert.
Ooh.
Space Alert. Real-time programming of a ship. And I was actually talking with Dan Thoreau, the Space Biff, about this game a couple days ago, and he reminded me that like, okay, like this game, so it's a spaceship, but it's not like some sleek, futuristic, it's actually kind of a junker. It's just kind of floating there, and it has like these big rooms, and it has 6 zones in the spaceship, and you do a timer, and it used to be a CD because that's how old the game is. I think this edition still has a CD in it. Now you can just get the app or get some other YouTube thing, and it's giving you threats like a threat and zone threat times in 6 and zone thing. So then you have to move your figures, and there's always 4 figures. So if you're playing solo, you got to play all 4 figures. Ooh, it's not something I'm interested in. But 2-player and above, great. And it's programming. So real time, so you have this time phase, and you have to face down program, and you're programming out like 13 different actions. It's a lot of actions, and you have to really coordinate, because if you mess up, like let's say 2 people are taking the elevator at once, or you don't get the threat and they kind of blow up a certain place where you're going to, then you're boned. And that's bad, and that's why people don't like this game, because it has that galaxy trucker thing where it's like if it goes wrong, goes really wrong and you suck. But if it goes well, it's the best. Like it's like when you mind meld with a person, you actually complete the scenario. It is so satisfying. I went to Michael Kelly from the One Stop Co-op. I went to his house over. Well, he was one of the vaccinated people I visited a couple months ago. We played Space Alert after however many years, and we were sitting there going, like he's a designer, and he's like, Vlada Chivato, I hate you. I'll never design like this. A majestic product, Space Alert. I completely love it.
I still need to play it. I would really like to. That's going on our list of things to do.
We have to have. I think we'll do a follow-up. Top 10 games that we're going to teach each other.
That's a great idea. Actually, we should do that.
A top, just to kind of pick out the 50 and then rank those so that we prioritize, because there's a lot of games on that list, and so we're gonna probably only get to like the top 3, but it'd be a good exercise. Top 3 games we're gonna teach each other. Good.
Yes, and then we have to actually do it like a contract.
Right.
Blood.
We'll do it over like when we're in the same place, like a con, we'll do it, and we'll have a nice table, and we'll have like contracts on either side, and it's like just write it in there, and then the top 3 are like mysteriously in red. We don't know where the red came from.
Perfect.
At Semper Ludimus Con, that's where we're gonna do it.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we should invent that just as a thing. All right, so my number 18 is so what's interesting is I'm looking at my tops, and I'm thinking about a lot of this is really influenced by games I played a whole lot in this past year and in quarantine. And a game that really did it for me when I wanted a quick solo game, just because I was pretty much my entire last year, was actually Warp's Edge. Yeah. It's that new also it's space themed. I have room in my heart for space games. Apparently, I really
it better be good. Edge. Like the space theme better be good.
Yeah, exactly. So it is a bag builder. I personally feel that it's better than Coffee Roaster.
It's objectively better than Coffee Roaster.
I'm being nice. But I think it's the best solo bag builder. There's there's a lot of options, but it's great. I really enjoy the special powers that you can pick up, that it changes per ship, the rewards that you can choose depending on who you decide to fight, how you decide to defeat them, the different bosses. It's just a really satisfying, nice little space game. And I like that it's so easy to learn and play, and yet packs in so much. There's really a lot to be said for that. And it's a game that I really recommend to anybody who's just looking for something fun to do solo gaming wise, because it really hits the spot for me. Really like it.
I need to play it more. It's like because we talked about Orleans, right, as that bag builder.
Yeah.
And this one is like a distilled version of that. It gives you everything that you want out of the bag building, but just in a quicker, snappier package. Yes.
And in space. Make it about
please.
A monastery, and I'm like in heaven.
No, Warp's Edge is great. Absolutely great. Did not make the list, but I mean, I have some really great games. I consider 8 great. So like when it comes to ratings, like 8 is like a great game. And 7 like a good game. And then 8.5 is like a great game that I want with it with the expansions. And then
Yeah.
now it's like, I think people have seen my the way I get emotional. So like all these nines, I like there's like an extra level of emotion that I put into those games. But yeah, no, Warp's Edge is really good. Anyway, okay. So back to me, number 18. You see it over here. I think most, if not all, these games you'll see on the direct shelf, right? So right here, Role Player. We did a Semper Ludimus review of it. We both love it, especially with the Monsters and Minion expansion. But the base game is perfectly, good, and it serves that really good. It gives a really good base experience too, along with the expansion making it better. So, Role Player, you are making a character. You are not adventuring with this character. You are engaging in good old RPG character creation, but gamified. So, it's a dice drafting system, dice rolling, dice drafting. So like you're going to be rolling dice, you draft them, every player is going to draft their own dice, and then you program them or slot them into the six traditional stats, strength, con, int, that kind of thing. And you can have, depending on what class you are, if you're a warrior, you want high strength. If you are a wizard, you want high int. And you can manipulate the dice. You can fire off powers. You can, when you program the dice, you get a little power to fire off. So you have to kind of like use that whole manipulation thing. It is dice manipulation at a very, very high level. I don't like this at a very high player count. I don't like this at 4 and 5.
No,
I
don't either.
It's just long. It's a lot of this. There's a lot of decision space. But that's what a solo game and a low player count game can give you, is they give you that room for solo because you're not waiting for a lot of people. And it's just great. I mean, Role Player is it's one of those games that if I had an app, they'd probably get played like about 1,000 times.
Oh yeah, I would actually really love to see a Role Player app. That'd be really nice, actually.
And even without the app, I've played it a number of times. I've, a significant amount of time. I have a playthrough on my channel. One of the few. Back when I thought I was going to play throughs on my channel, I was like that. And that was literally the first game. I'm like, okay, I want to get the one started off with a bang. What's like a really just good, solid, really fun time Role Player. So
yeah, it's
awesome.
Yeah, it's a good solid one. Honestly, it would be on this list if I had not included multiplayers.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, sure.
So like my list would look different if I had done only solo top 50, but I didn't. And if I had, Role Player would be on the list.
I didn't approach it that way. I think I approached it more like, what was my best experience? It's almost like the SAT. I take the best grade. It's like if something is like best at 5, then like, okay, that's how I'm gonna rate it. So like this one is best at 1 and 2 for me. So I just like, throw it in there. I'll note that it's not great at the higher player count, but
yeah,
low.
Oh no, what I mean is that in most of us, I don't even include multiplayer games at all. So like this list shows a level of inclusion that my lists often do not. So
okay.
It changes the rankings.
Okay. All right. So Role Play. That was my number 18. Number I keep on what is it? XVII 17.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. All right.
And so this is for me in the editing room. I just finished editing the first set, and like when I announced the numbers, I checked myself. I'm like, okay, did I do that right? Okay, good.
You got this. You got this.
Got it.
All right. So my 17 is a game that's been ranked higher for me, but it just didn't come out that much this year. It's still a favorite. It's the game that got me into solo gaming. That is the Lord of the Rings living card game. I love it. It's a great game. I still play it, but I just have not had the urge as much this year. And yeah, I've just been playing other stuff more. However, it's still a really wonderful game system. I love Lord of the Rings. I got it because I like deck construction. And that was something that Magic the Gathering was doing for me, but at a higher cost and with more stress. So, I got the Lord of the Rings LCG to try to capture that Magic the Gathering feeling, realized I could play by myself, and became a solo gamer. So if I had not encountered Lord of the Rings living card game, I don't know if I would never have become a solo gamer, but it would have taken longer.
Mm-hmm. All right. The LCGs, the LCGs are like, there's like sneaky subscriptions.
Yeah.
Like if like people say it's like, oh, only $4 a month, only $6 a month, only have this much a month. But then you add it up, and it's like I'm paying more for all of my subscriptions than I used to pay for cable and internet.
Yes.
So like I have all these subscription around. So like but they nickel and dime me, so you don't feel it. I feel the same way about the LCGs.
I don't think you're wrong.
All right. But although I think my favorite will be Arkham Horror because it's I think it's the better story and it's kind of like a lower overhead mechanical system. I find Lord of the Rings to be pretty clunky. Because you have to
Yeah,
focus on
it's I mean,
characters.
it's kind of a stand-in for me. Like I also like Arkham Horror, and I actually also like Marvel Champions. Lord of the Rings is the one that I have the highest emotional attachment to,
Mhm.
and that's the trump card on that one for me. I'm not gonna argue that I think Arkham is probably the better game. It's just that Lord of the Rings is the one that I have the most feelings about.
Sure. No, I mean it's a high. I mean it's about 7.5 for me, but like it's I still think it's good. So yeah, Lord of the Rings, LCG. You earn you're starting to earn your solo cred. Once you start putting games like that on there, that's what the solo gamers want. All right, so actually, it's funny. So there are some points where our lists are going to very much coincide. I'm not an LCG person. I'm not an adventure card game person. I like them. I love them. Actually, it's just the cost is kind of prohibitive, and keeping up with everything feels very overwhelming. But there is one card system that I did keep up with until the very end, and I'm keeping up with the reboot. Hold on. All right, here we go.
Wait, it's your 17 too?
Yep.
Ooh. Oh baby.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. That's a familiar friend right
so
there.
Heavy. Look at this thing. This is amazing. There we go. Cool.
Hey, you worked out for the day.
Yeah. Oh my god. There's a lot of cards in that thing. And I also have the fan made expansion in there. So like, and there's like, I don't know, 30 heroes in the fan made expansion. It's a lot. Sentinels of the Multiverse. So Sentinels of the Multiverse is my third game. Actually, my third cooperative game that I played, including Space Alert and then another game that's coming up soon. Wow. Hold on a sec.
Yes, this game also gets me hot and bothered. Let's just say I love it even more than you. We'll put it
right. Oh yeah. Okay, it's probably it's coming soon. It's amazing. It's superhero card game. It's a fixed deck. Like you said before, you like deck construction. I don't. I mean, I don't dislike deck construction. I just don't. That's not my fun.
Yeah.
Right? I just want to get. I want to intimately get to know a deck, and like take that deck of whatever it is. So like it's a 40 card deck, and each hero has its own deck, and I want to like learn its secrets and learn its intricacies versus the different bosses versus different environments. So like if I'm playing this boss in one environment, then they'll play this way. But if I play the same boss in a different environment, then I'm going to play a different set of cards or a different set of cards in a different order. So I like learning that and becoming more intimate with that scenario. And I know I'm a thematic person, so it's like I like knowing that Parse is the hacker is going to gonna do a bunch of stuff, controlling the board. I like that Haka has like all these attacking cards. I get to know the cards intimately, and the big knock of Sentinels of Multiverse is all the tracking. There's just a lot of numbers, -1 here, +1 here. This one has DR1, has armor, has this, and the new edition apparently addresses a lot of that. And I looked at it, and like I can already tell, just not having played it, that they reduced the keywords.
Yeah.
And they've streamlined some of the things that have gone on, which is the big problem. They've updated some of the decks, and so I had Christopher Bedell on the show to talk about why reboot this thing. The people going to feel cheated because they bought all this stuff, and it's like at the end of the day, if this was a computer program, they would have uploaded patches already. Like this the core product is over 10 years old, and it shows. So it's like you want the best game. If it's going to be your flagship product, you want it to be the best possible. I'm like, all right, I get it. I wish you could refund the money of all the people who spent all that money, but I'll try to move this one along, and I'll be in the new stuff, or I could keep it because it's not like those cards expire. Like you can still use it in the new system. It's just going to be a little bit wonky, but
full disclosure, I backed the new one. I'm planning to play it, review it, and then decide what to do after that. But I mean, I have everything.
Yeah.
You
see everything.
All the foils, all the everything. Like, I don't know if I can get rid of that. It's like a sunk cost thing, but we'll see. I mean, I'm actually gonna be really interested to compare the two. And I also do play the app a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the app.
I'm a little done on the app, but no, I did play a lot of the app when it came out. All right, so that was Sentinels of Multiverse on number 17. Let's go to number 16.
All right, so my number 16 is like an old solo classic, I would say. And it features my favorite just standalone game mechanism, which is deck building. And it is legendary. Alien Encounters. I
Yes.
love the Alien movies. I love Alien Encounters. Every time I play it, it's so gross and it's fun, and it's dramatic and it's tense. I love playing it with my game group as well. Like we've broken it out within the, right before the pandemic, I think I played it with everybody. And we had a great time just getting all worked up about the aliens. And it's
The
just one of
little
those ones
subtle
where,
thing of like the aliens come with their face down, but then you
yeah, and it's
reveal
like,
them.
they're in the vents and they're coming and like, what are they? And oh no. And it's so good. It
Mhm.
really is. Like, I know that it's aging, and there are a lot of legendary like deck building games that you could try. I still think the Alien Encounters is the best one. I do think I like it better because I like the Alien movies.
Yeah.
But the expansions are good. It's good. I love it. I'll play it anytime.
Mhm.
And I definitely every couple of years like get a huge itch to watch all the Alien movies again. And then my play of Alien Encounters goes up at that same time. It's like the circle of alien proliferation. It's kind of cute.
Mhm.
But I love it. It's a good one.
Continuing to earn your solo gamer cred, because these games are, so many of them are on the one player guild top 100 solo. So like now we're starting to really coalesce into like the our community, our audience. And I mean, the Dice Tower, obviously we love everybody. It's just like in the solo verse, right? And that's it's its own thing, right? And we definitely invite people. We invite
Oh
people
yeah.
to kind of enjoy, this the one player guild and all the different types of games that are there.
We should all be alone together.
Yeah,
It's exactly.
that's what the pandemic was all about. All right. So this is my number 16. So this is The Pursuit of Happiness. So The Pursuit of Happiness, Euro worker placement, but you say Euro worker placement, it's like, all right, whatever. And as an actual game, it's like, whatever. It's not gonna pop if it had a different theme. But it does have this theme, so it absolutely wraps in, and the game was developed with this theme in mind. So I have to talk about that because that's a draw. Pursuit of Happiness, it is the game of life, gamified, with actual, decisions and choices and development and, things that you do. So you're going to be acquiring cards. When that's what you do with your worker, you acquire a bunch of cards, and it's life. You have life projects like, I'm going to learn to cook, and I'm going to do yoga. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to, be a better me. And you have your life projects. You can, get jobs, and with the income, you can get a spouse. With and the spouses are double-sided, so you have it's very flexible, male, female, and it's very flexible in terms of how you can play out the spouse situation. So I appreciated that. And the little different events that happen, and there's a little mini expansion with pets, and the pets going to grow and die, and it's like, oh, bye my goldfish person. And I mean, it's they do so much to kind of put the stuff of life there, and then it's the management, and so there's an overarching kind of mechanism called stress. So if you've mismanaged your life, you get stressed and you're not going to do as well. And it limits you in a couple of ways. Like you don't have as many workers, you die earlier, or your game is over earlier, if you mismanage your stress. And the parallels to real life are striking. Like it's not a perfect analog by any means of imagination, but enough to play with. I put this in. This was the very first game for Healthy Mind. When I first developed that series of reviews for the Dice Tower, this was the first game I thought of, because I have played it a couple of times. It's a little bit of a complex Euro, so buyer beware. You can't just show it to anybody. But
Right.
for gamers for person who are inclined that way, and I was able to show, it's like, look, this is what you're doing in your life. Look how much stuff you're jamming into one life. You only have so much in your tableau, in your mental tableau. You only have so much room for it. You're jamming a whole bunch of stuff in here. That's stress. And let's tease some of the stuff out and like line up our life. You only have room for one project. If you do a project, finish it. Don't just like do 7 projects. And in real life, we do that. We take up these things. I'm going to read the completed work of Shakespeare, and I'm going to buy the book of Shakespeare. It's just sitting there, taunting you. It's like, okay, yeah, when are you going to read me, huh? When are you going to read me? We have giant to-do lists that just hang there, and it's like it's in the game equivalent. It's like taking a bunch of projects and not doing them. And
That's
so
so cool.
the game,
I almost backed this the last time it came around, and I just happened to be broke at the time. And man, I should see if I can get my hands on a copy of this one.
and obviously, as a psychotherapist, I'm putting extra into it.
Yeah,
right. Yeah. And so, but this is my list. I can do what I want. So
Yes,
not everybody's
can.
going to put this as much into it as I am, but there is this game can receive all the stuff that I'm thinking, and I think it's fabulous. I don't know any other game like it. I'm waiting for the next expansion and the big box because there's a lot of content at this point. But yeah, the Pursuit of Happiness is really, really great, really great.
Nice, really nice. All right, so my 15 is a lot smaller. You can't put very much on it, but it's so brilliant. It's just so brilliant, and it lives in my bag, and it comes out all the time, and it's Sprawlopolis. I think that Sprawlopolis is just such a smart design. It is true that there are goals that I consider to be incompatible with each other that can come up, but I also now know the goals well enough to just be like, nope, we're not playing that combo and move on.
Yeah,
But
like,
it
so
is
like
just,
goals like, you know, most blue connections, at least blue connections or something.
yeah,
like that.
exactly. So for those of you who don't know, Sprawlopolis is an 18 card game. It is cooperative or solo, and you are just trying to build a city according to restraints that are based on scoring conditions. And it's really brilliant because the front of every card is like a grid that you can put into your city, and the back has a goal on it. So you just draw 3 goals and keep going. Is it 2 or 3?
3.
Anyway, I'm having a moment.
I barely play this game. What are you talking about?
But you know, I really, really love it for its simplicity and for the fact that it just sets my brain on fire. I'm not that good at Sprawlopolis, but I also don't care because I enjoy thinking through the problems. And actually, the game that's currently in my bag is Agropolis, which I need to pull out and learn the next time I have like just a moment to myself, which will hopefully happen next week because I definitely bought the follow-up so I could keep going with it. But it's just one of those games that I really admire for how much it can do with so little. And I just don't know of many other games that can do that. It just really stuns me every time.
Mm-hmm. I approve. It's not, I mean, I want more out of my city building because I'm a city person, and it's not a city builder. It could be anything. It could be fields. It could be, you know, Tetris pieces. Like, it doesn't, I don't get city. But that's just me putting my expectation into it. Like, as just an actual game itself, it's really, really, really good. Because there's like a little mini canon of like really small solo card games, and I think that this game is a worthy entry into that canon.
Yeah, for me, it's like the top of the list just because of how smart it is. But I know that we all have our tastes.
Yep.
But it's such a good puzzle. I love it.
No, Sprawlopolis. That was number 15, right?
Yes.
Okay, so now number 15. We're back to the pandemics, baby. Pandemic Legacy Season 1. So for the long time, this was like number 2 or 3. But, you know, you forget after a while, you know, because I went through the whole Legacy thing when it really first came out. And thinking back, now it's like, it's been like, what, 3, 4, or 5 years or something like that. Thinking back, I don't remember the plot. Usually with a really good story, you remember stuff. Like, what were we doing again? I may have to just go back and buy my own copy. I would totally buy my copy and play solo. Especially if just kind of like found one. If I found one, no question, I'd be like, here we go. Then another 15 games. So I don't remember the actual story, but I do remember the beats and I do remember the moments. Right, there were definitely like moments, and I think that's how they constructed the game. Of, you know, like there's a big reveal like that happens like pretty early on in the game, and then there's another kind of twist in the middle, and then there's like a bigger twist in like, you know, the September October area, and I remember those. And I remember like being really upset. I remember like, you know, at the very end, we were so happy like with the ending. Like, I think a tradition at this point is I have to play the theme song to the A-Team. And like we imagine all of ourselves like walking out of an exploding building and just like putting our shades on and walking away.
That's
You
awesome.
get that feeling from Pandemic Legacy, and it's Pandemic, for crying out loud. Pandemic's not not an inherently thematic game, but it's a theme receptacle. You could put so much into it, and they really just wrung everything out of it, and they hit a home run with that first time because it's just simple. It's heroes, it's the A-Team, it's the Avengers, it's whatever, name your superhero team. And they go through their obstacles, but then they overcome the obstacles, and you know, all the other stuff. And they weave in expansion content. So like they took the expansion content from the base game and they integrated as modules. That's how they mix up the different scenarios from game to game. Pandemic Season 1, I think it's like the second game on BGG overall. You know, so it's awesome. It is only 15 because I don't remember the story, but that's, you know.
Man, I've had books that I thought were amazing and I don't remember the story. So. Given enough years, your memory just
yeah, right.
Like, I almost never reread books unless it's been several years since the last read, because then it really is like rediscovering it.
Right. Yeah, No, it's awesome. The Pandemic Legacy Season 1. I like I said in the other video, I do not own Legacy games. That's a friend of mine, and I'm going to play Season 0. We'll see where Season 0 lands.
I hope it's awesome. Just for your own happiness, but
I
also
hope so.
because it's gonna have good games out there. All right, so my number 14, I think it's the lightest game left on this list. We're about to take a turn for the weighty, not super weighty, but just different. But so my number 14 is also less roll and write that's left on here. It's my favorite roll and write. That's Welcome To. I love Welcome To. The reason I love it so low is because I used to call it the Alexis deck, but the designer is French. It's the Alexis deck. Alexis, and it's like $5. You can get it on the Deepwater Games site, and it just takes this game to the next level for me. Like, I generally like Welcome To because I enjoy like choosing what construction upgrade I want and what number I want. So for those of you who've not played it, it's like a little roll and write where you're filling in like addresses on these houses, and the numbers have to be from lowest to highest. So you can't have like 2 number 9s in a row without something special, and you can't have 9 and then an 8, and you have to budget that. But you're also trying to build pools and build parks and increase the value of different estate sizes, put fences different places. It's fun. But the solo deck just does it for me because normally you get 3 cards, you're presented with 3 cards, and you choose 2 of them to do something with, or like a pair. But in the Alexis deck, basically, that you draw 3 cards, you do something with 2 of them, and you have to discard the 3rd. And every time you discard, whatever you give to the AI helps it score at the end of the game. So you keep the discard pile in order, and then score the AI opponent. And there's several different ones with different values off of what you let go. So it adds a whole new layer of what you have to think about to the game. And I love it because it just like takes it to that next, like, solo gamers tend to like puzzles, and it makes it more difficult to make decisions because it's like not only what I want, but what I don't want to give away.
Yeah, and solo gamers, AP is not a bug, it's feature.
Yeah, I mean, no one's gonna tell me I'm taking too long, so
right. So like adding a little bit of wrinkle is gonna solo gamer, as long as it's like fruitful, and it results in, like, I like to call it the puzzle to payoff. Like, the payoff needs to be good, and once you figure it out, it needs to have that good pop, that satisfying pop. And it sounds like Welcome To hits that for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. I haven't played it, so
I recommend. We'll put it on the teach list. It's easy.
Yeah, a little bit further down. I've had opportunities. It's like, I guess I'm not really a roll and write guy or flip and write guy. That's not not my core fun. But I'm in 5 times.
we all have our proclivities.
Magical time. Okay, so number 14, I'm not going to spend too long talking about because you did mention it on your list previously. Flashpoint Fire Rescue.
Yes.
There it is, and super high. I'm still in my 9 out of 10s. I'll let you know when I get to 9.5. That is coming next video, actually. So for Flashpoint Fire Rescue, Liz went over it in a previous video. If you haven't seen it, go. Pause the video, go back to the earlier list. Flashpoint Fire Rescue, cooperative game, rescuing firefighters. I think the short-term, long-term, like a lot of cooperative games do, like, the short-term is save the building from the fires, and the long-term is save the peoples. So like you have that decision of like, okay, do I need to take care of this fire now, or it's going to kill me? Or if I take care of the fires too much, then I'm going to run out of time, and I'm not going to get to the, or if I leave the people there, they might just like die to like random fire that bursts up. So I need to kind of get them out of there as soon as possible. It's what I like about it. I don't think we talked about it last time. Besides just being a fun game, is that it's very modular. I think it's one of the most modular in terms of difficulty scaling and like complexity scaling in terms of co-op. And the simple game is as simple as you want. The simple game, I think I even get my 6-year-old to play, eventually 6-year-old. But you can layer on stuff. You can get the different boards. You can, vary up the fire. You can vary up the peoples that you're rescuing so that there's little extra rules there. You can add different characters that are a little bit more complex themselves. And so the modularity, I think, is really great within the family game structure. It's never going to be like a heavy game, but it gives you like really like a lot of knobs to turn. Along with just being a really fun game, really thematic. I play this game in therapy when I want to actually expose people to anxiety. So like if I want to get them anxious, especially if it's like a young kid, and it's a technique we call exposure therapy, and it means like, okay, gin up the emotions, and then practice the calming skills.
That's how I had to learn to drive. Just had to get out there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, sometimes you just have to like jump in the deep end of the pool and learn how to swim. And a contained environment could be a very effective therapy tool. And that Flashpoint is one of the things that I use. My biggest though is Rhino Hero. Rhino Hero is the one like because you get high and then I can like, oh my god, he's gonna fall. The rhino's gonna fall. I can't knock him down. No, but Flashpoint is one of those games in that thing. So like for a lot of reasons, it's my number 14 with very, very solid. Not going anywhere.
Nice. Very nice indeed. All right, my number 13. It's been ranked higher. I just haven't brought it out as much this year, but I do love it. And it is Nemo's War. I really like Nemo's War.
Where is it? Right there.
You got it back there too.
Right there.
So the updated edition with the ENO2 art is just so beautiful. It's a gorgeous game. I love 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. I like things that have kind of a literary underpinning of some kind. And this game has really nice emergent storytelling. You get to choose what you want to do. You can do like sort of a war or anti-imperialist sort of thing with your character, or you can do like science and exploration, and you can have different victory conditions. You're going around trying to control these different ships in the seas, not letting it get out of hand. You don't want to draw too much attention to yourself though. And so like a story emerges every time you play the game. I will say the number one complaint is that there's a lot of die rolling. If you don't like that, you might not like this as much. But for me, I just think I'm in it for the narrative. And I feel like this game is like a nice combo of kind of stuff that you can think out and try to mitigate, and then things that you can't control that create a story that maybe you wouldn't have written yourself, but it's fun.
Nice. Yeah, I like Nemo's War a lot. It's that victory points kind of pedigree, the solo focus design, like we talked about Dawn of the Zeds earlier. It's not the same game, but like very thematic, lots of dice. If you don't like dice, no, do not apply. But and like kind of old school mitigation, where like old school mitigation for dice is like roll more dice. Or roll them more times. It's not a lot of like changing. But the narrative that emerges is really awesome. It's not on my list, but no, it's definitely a really, really great game.
Awesome.
All right. So number 13 for me is Oni Rim.
Okay,
Oni Rim. Yeah, there you go. It might be higher in your list. I'm not really sure. I know you like it. It's not. What? Not even top 50. What are we talking? You did all the Oniverse games. You reviewed them all in the Dice Tower. I saw them. I saw the reviews of the Dice Tower. You've seen How to Solo all over Beyond Solitaire. Not one Oniverse game on this list.
Yeah, and you know what? I haven't played any of them since we did that.
Between Race for the Galaxy and no Oniverse, you're fired. I'm getting. I don't know. Roy Kennedy, come on, let's. Somebody cares.
Oh, please. I'm irreplaceable. I have tenure. Nobody's going to do
Oh, my God. All right. Oni Rim. Oni Rim is it's one of my go-to card games. Actually, there's one small card game that's actually ahead of this that I'm going to get to next video. But this one is such a classic. And I like playing, it's, if you don't know it, the basic game, you have a deck of cards. It's just a deck of cards. And you are traveling through a dream world. So you're building a tableau matching symbols. So like, there's sun, there's moon, there's key, and you want to build a tableau so that you're slowly one at a time building sun, moon. And you want to build sets of 3. Once you build a set of 3, you can dig a door out of the deck, and you're trying to get 8 doors. That's the very core simple concept. So then that sounds boring, but then you get to the key. And I think the key is what makes this game like a cut above, because anytime you have like a multi-use card that's mixed in with everything that's simple, that's cool. So the key is powerful. Like you can use the key to kill the nightmares. Nightmares are a thing that can kill your deck. Or you can use the key to get the door. You can use the key to just scry and like kind of look forward. So you have this like one resource among all the other stuff that shines, and that's your game. You're just managing all that. And, so like you start with that very core system and then you layer on the expansions. My favorite way to play is all 7 expansions. I have a playthrough in the One Stop Co-op Shop. I had multiple playthroughs actually. I did it. It's like, I'll do this again because it's fun. And because I did the 7 expansions, I did also the promos, a playthrough with all the promos. So I don't like mixing that everything together is a little bit much for me, but like 7 expansions, not bad. It takes about 45 minutes. And it I don't know. I just watch the playthrough. Favorite solo pure card game. Oni Rim.
Nice. Very nice.
You're fired.
Quit.
I have not. I have to admit, I'm gonna come in under on the times that I make you roll your eyes, and you came in way over on the way that I roll my eye, but not because of stuff that you have, because of stuff that you left off, and I did not anticipate that being the case.
I told you I hate making lists, man. Like, this is just not my. It's not my forte. I just don't understand games that way. If that makes sense, like every game is like a thing in itself.
Right.
I have a hard time with game ranking in the sense that, like, I definitely have a favorite. You already know what my favorite is if you know me at all. But like, beyond that, I don't know. I just kind of feel like every game is something that you confront like in the moment. And when I review a game, I'm not thinking about where it goes necessarily on my personal list. Like, I spend a lot of time thinking about like, how would I rate this? But that doesn't necessarily translate to, I don't know, like a personal best list. Because my mood just changes all the time. Like my gaming, I game in phases. I have things I really like, and then I forget about it for a year, and then pull it back out and I'm happy again. I don't know.
I heard a lot of words. I did not hear a justification for leaving off Universe.
Whatever. Frankly, okay, you want to know my justification for leaving off Universe? It's fine, but really, I don't want to pull out.
I know they don't stick around. They don't. They're cool. They're cool. It's a line. They're cool. You know, I get it. It just so happens that Universe rises above the rest of them. So because you notice I don't have any other ones on there.
Yeah, well, my number 12 is a keeper. I love it. It is PAX Premier 2nd edition.
Yeah,
I'm wild about it. It is a historical game about like the Durrani Empire in Afghanistan, and you know, you are an Afghan leader fighting to get some personal prestige in your part of the world, but you're also like switching alliances between Afghanistan itself and the Britons and the Russians, and you are just, man, you got a lot going on. And yet the game is so beautiful and so simple. There's card play, there's area control, there's, you know, kind of jockeying before score checks, and the AI is designed for the solo version of the game by our own Ricky Royal. I would say it's not quite as good as multiplayer, but it's still just such a good bot. It is really, really amazing. You know, to me, it kind of shows how far solo gaming has come, and you know what you can do with it to play a game that's this interactive with a bot at all. It's great. Love it. Absolutely love it. We'll play it anytime. Ended up reading a bunch of books about this time period because I just got really into it. Learned a lot. Still interested. So that's PAX Premier.
I played it. I should play it.
It's so good.
That one is gonna go a little bit higher in the list than like Welcome to. I will absolutely play it, or I think I need to, quote unquote, because nobody needs to play games, right? But just, you know, as a thing that I want to say,
okay,
it has to be a lot higher for me because it's something I think I would enjoy.
I will dispute that. People do need to play games. They don't need to play board games, but people need to play.
Yeah, okay, yeah, you're right.
That I will say.
Yeah, Homo Ludum. We are playful beings. Board games, hobby board games, $70 hobby board games.
Yeah, there's actually a book. Yeah, it's called Homo Ludens, person playing, because right. it's in our nature. We gotta play.
My number 12 is my Mind Clash game. And it is not an acronym. It could be an acronym because Anacron's a really, really good game, and it's like an 8 out of 10, so it's kind of like hovering the 60s or 70s around there. But this one, number 12, an unsung game, Cerebria.
Oh yeah,
it's unsung game totally. So Cerebria is, God, I can't even describe. You get to a Mind Clash game, it's like it just kind of explodes your brain. It is I guess a area control kind of tug of war type game. It's a 2v2, or you can play teams, so you can, you know, like a co-op team. And I mean, the theme is supposed to be like, you know, the happiness versus sadness. But come on. And I'm excited about psychological stuff, but like it's light versus dark. It's like it's a team versus team game, and it's a tug of war type game, and it's very tactical. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that a game could be really complex as a Mind Clash game is, but not like in that Euro style. I'm going to combo a bunch of points. I'm going to do something now that pays off in like 18 turns. That's not quite my jam. My jam is tactical. My jam is like, I do a bunch of stuff. I puzzle the stuff out of my turn, and then it happens. Right. And you can do that. You can, like, within a game of Cerebria, you can, you know, spend a long time, as long as you want, puzzling out the best option for your turn. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to control area. And you're going to get resources and score points depending on how much area control at the end of your turn. And so you want to be able to do it in such a way where you put your other opponent in a position where they have to really scramble to control their area. And there's a back and forth. There's a tug of war. And there's little scoring options, like kind of every couple of rounds, there'll be like a scoring thing that you can trigger. And then you get points and all that kind of thing. But that tug of war and that turn by turn tactical rich experience. There's card play too, and I'm a big card play person. Multi-use cards, you're moving figures around a board and stuff like that, operating it. The art is great, the motif is great, the theme is there. I just think it just brings a lot of things together. I don't play this game enough. I really don't. It's one of those games where, like, of all the games, and we say this, right? We want to play like Mechs vs. Minions, we'd love to play, and like these other games. I think of all the games that if I could just pause time and have infinite time, this would be the game that I would play more than anything.
Nice. That's high praise.
Yeah. If I could turn back time, I would play Cerebria.
Oh man.
My number 12.
All right. So number 11. Let's end this part of our series off with a bang. My number 11 is Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion. Because you know what? I like Gloomhaven, but I like convenient, portable, easy to set up Gloomhaven a lot better. And that's just facts. It's got all the great card play of Gloomhaven where you're like choosing which thing on which card to do. It's got the leveling. It's got good characters. It's got a story. Whatever. I'm hoping for Frosthaven, after all the work that's gone to that story, will have a better story. But the core Gloomhaven gameplay is in there in a very easy setup, easy put away box. I really, really like it. And I mean, honestly, I think that Gloomhaven deserves the praise that it gets. It really mechanically is something very special. It's just the only reason it's not my top 10 is that I still have to do all the campaign setup for it. And that's still irritating. So there you go.
Funny how like Gloomhaven is this majestic game, but like we've been wanting, like we always ask for, like, give us a campaign and give us a lot of options, and then we get it, and it's like, oh, this is so much.
Well, the problem is that you can't be like, yo, come play Gloomhaven with me. This is so cool. Person who's never played Gloomhaven before. I'm several scenarios in. You know, I think that that's part of the issue. You know, you can't play Gloomhaven a couple times and be like, man, I want to take this and show somebody. Or like you can't even, you have to be willing to have a very personal experience with it.
Yeah, and actually my home group, they've been playing Gloomhaven online, and I think they're through it. I think they finished everything, and they're telling me stories about it. It's like, oh man, I wish. So that was Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion, number 11. I still have to play it. It'll probably make a very high dent in the list if I got once I get it to the table. And it's right here. Actually, I have it. Let me see. Still in shrink.
Yeah.
I gotta get it to the table.
But I'm also just delighted by the fact that you can go get Gloomhaven at Target. Sure. Like, we're making it, y'all, as a hobby.
Okay. All right, so my number 11. This one is, obviously, these are bombs at this point for all of us. So I feel really good about this game. But not a ton of popular kind of, like, it doesn't come up like, show me this type of game. It doesn't come out those kind of lists when people ask for them on Facebook or Reddit or anything. But I love it. Not Alone. Not Alone is my go-to high player count game. No question. End of story. If I have more than 4 players at a game night, or if like it's one of those things where it's like we're waiting for people, and we need a game to play, just kind of like to fill the time. Not Alone. I usually have it. It's a small card game, and
is it the location one where you go to the different places and then somebody is the alien?
Yeah, one person.
That's a great game.
One person is the hunted. It's alien, right? So you are the alien. Yes. And you are, and you're the alien from the first Alien. So like you're invincible, right? And then the players are not invincible. They are squishy and they can't do anything, which is the best version of Alien, right? So the alien, the creature, what they don't know is where the people are. So like they have all these resources, they have cards, they have powers, and they can't be killed, but they are looking for the players. And the players, all they have to go on is stealth. And so it's like gamer poker for me. So like people are kind of reading each other. So like the players are reading the alien trying to read the players, like, that person has a little bit of has 0 health, or like, they're running low on health. They might try to go and try to get their cards back, or they might try to go a little bit of they're trying to buff themselves up. Oh, that person's looking pretty good. They might just make a run for the exit because they're trying to exit the thing. And there's a head game there. And so I love the head game. Oh, I love poker. So then on the player side, the complaint about this game for the player side is that it's supposed to be like a 1 versus many, theoretically cooperative, but like the players shouldn't talk because the alien can hear them. There's no like, you can't have secret talk. You can only have open talk, or otherwise the game would be too easy. So then, what functionally happens is that players are playing their own games. It's a very, very kind of quiet game. I like that too, because it's almost like you're playing poker against your teammates. It's like, where are they gonna go?
We don't all want to go to the same place and I'll get wiped.
Right. Or like, because if you go to if 5 people go to the one place where it's like the beach where you like kind of operate the ship, it only gets operated once. So it's like it's not going to get operated like 5 times.
Yeah.
So like if you go there, it's a total waste. And so like even that, it's like, okay, I think that person's going to go to the beach. So I'm going to go here, and I'm in full health. So I'm going to go to the obvious thing where the alien wants to go. So much good. Exploration is a decent, like the exploration, decent example, not necessary at all. I think the base game is enough. And then the Sanctuary expansion, which I also reviewed in the Dice Tower, adds like a little wrinkle for people who've played a lot. It is not a necessary expansion at all, but it's cool for people who've played a lot. And I actually don't have that in my life. It's more a game that I play in new groups. Easy to teach, easy to run, high player count. Yeah. So not alone. I mean, I'm thinking about it. It probably should be higher.
That's really a very good game. I do not dispute that choice.
Yeah, so that's my number 11, and that is our 20 to 11. We have one more video to go, Liz. One more to go.
One more.
And that's what they all want. The people all want to watch that top 10 50-50 coming next time. But until next time, this is Jason Perez from Shelf Stories.
This is Liz Davidson from Beyond Solitaire.
And we want to remind you to Semper Ludimus, which is...
We always play, so should you. Ludete.